What's going on, everyone, and welcome back for episode number 20 of Restoring Style. My second season at the club has now drawn to a close, and I thought I'll just bring you this episode to kind of wrap up the season, look at the awards that have been given out, look at how we've done in the competitions this year in more detail, and we'll maybe also take a look at our squad and some of the plans that I've got going forward with this team. But we are going to start off with the awards, and here we've got Player of the Year. That has gone to a side that have been relegated from the top tier. Gazmetan Michał Hubnik has got that award, 19 goals in 35 games. Now, very strangely, for the second season in a row, not a single Steaua player has featured in the running for Player of the Year. I don't understand it, I really don't, because last year, of course, for the past two seasons, the top goal scorer in the league has been a Steaua player by quite a considerable distance both years. Of course, Tukadin last year, Kuzeru, who bagged, I think it was 34 goals he ended up with in the league. Somehow, he's not even in the top three for Player of the Year. I don't understand it. But we'll move on to Young Player of the Year. We've got Rotario from Dinamo Bucharest, of course, quite a well-known youngster in Football Manager, really talented player, scored 10 goals, set up 10 goals in 33 games even, with an average rating of 7.22. Not a single Steaua player featuring in that. And I did win Manager of the Year, though, ahead of the Dinamo Bucharest manager and the Petrol manager. I won it last year, won it once again. So again, a nice little personal accolade for myself. Most awards went to Pastorini with 16 assists. Yanku and Lucas came second and third respectively, so nice to have a couple of our players in there. Kuzeru, top goal scorer, as I said, finished up with 34 goals. I mean, it is a bit of a travesty that he hasn't won that Player of the Year or even finished in the top three for Player of the Year. I mean, to score 34 goals, he didn't manage to actually get to 50. He finished up on 48, unfortunately. But just a magnificent season. 48 goals in 50 appearances, sorry. It's a brilliant season. 34 and 33 in the league. Magnificent stuff from him. And he also assisted a few as well. He got 7 assists in the league. So, you know, after last season where he only scored 3 goals, a massive turnaround. Of course, he played a lot more this year, but last year his performances when he did play weren't that good. It was just a huge turnaround in performance. But we've got Goal of the Year here, not a single Steaua player featured in that. And yeah, that's about it for the awards. You can see Gazmetan manager's been fired. And you can see quite a few of my players are getting bids now. As I expected, you know, when you're in a league that's not of a high reputation like the Romanian league, it's kind of tough to keep on hold on to your players. A lot of my players are asking about moving to bigger clubs and things like that, so we're going to have a hard time keeping some of our key players over the summer. But I'm not going to look at those bids just now. I'll take a look at those later on. We're going to look at the competitions now and look how we've done in each competition this year. Of course, domestically, our aims are always very simple: win the league or win everything, basically. And we've done that. We won the league, we won the Romanian Cup, and we won the League Cup. A magnificent season domestically. We ran away with the league. As I said, I think in the last episode, we hadn't lost a league game since October, and that still is the case. We won our final 2 league games against Petrol and Cluj. So, you know, we just completely dominated. If we look at the championship playoff, as it adds all the results from the regular season and the final 10 games in the championship playoff. So, in all, we played 36 games in the league this season, won 27, drew 7, only lost 2, scored 83 goals, and only conceded 23. We finished 14 points ahead of Dinamo Bucharest. Again, as I said, just very dominant and improved on last year as well, which was good. If we look at the actual final league table and some of the teams that got relegated, of course, I already mentioned Gazmetan have been relegated from the top tier. Chiahlul are also going down. Who is this? FC Karan Sebes are going down. And also Academica, who only won 2 games all season, are also being relegated to the second tier. I'm not sure who's going up. I haven't checked that. But yeah, in terms of our league performance, as I said, just fantastic. We look at the Champions League now. Of course, in my first season at the club, we kind of pulled a bit of a shock by getting to the knockout rounds. Of course, the draw that we got for the group stages was, not easy, but we could have got a much tougher draw in the first season, let's be honest. We had Bayern, Basel and Salzburg. Of course, this year it was a lot tougher for us. We had Wolfsburg, Real Madrid and Lyon in our Champions League group. I mean, the minimum expectation from the board was just to reach the group stage, and we've done that. But, I can't be disappointed with our Champions League campaign simply because of the group that we were put into. Atletico Madrid, as you can see, went on to win the Champions League. Let's actually see who they beat in the final. Let's have a look at that. They beat Liverpool on penalties. As a Manchester United fan, that is very pleasing for me. But Atletico Madrid winning the Champions League on penalties. Diego Simeone delivering European glory. Cazorla actually finished third in the top goal scorers in the Champions League. So a really good season for Cazorla in the Champions League. Of course, we come to the competition a lot earlier than some of these other sides. We start in the qualifying rounds, but yeah, that's nice to see. And I think finally we'll look at our squad and look at some of our key players from this year, some of the players that have developed well. So we sort it by average rating. Of course, we've looked at Cazorla, but we'll look at Lucas now. We bought this guy really cheap at the start of the season, 1.7 million, and I knew as soon as I bought him that he is gonna tear it up in this league. Unfortunately, he didn't score a goal in the league, but got 14 assists with an average rating of 7.41. In all competitions, he got 20 assists with an average rating of 7.42. So a really, really good season for Lucas in his first year at the club. Got some interest from Bordeaux. Hopefully we can keep him around. Really, really talented player. Only 24 years old. So there's a lot more to see from him. Florin Andone. Now, this isn't a guy that had a massive impact for us this year, simply because of the injuries that he picked up throughout the season. Really unlucky with injuries, but I think next season, if he can stay fit, this is a guy to watch for next year. To be honest, his goal scoring record is pretty good for the amount of games that he played. In the league, he got 6 in 15, pretty decent. In all competitions, 10 in 24, which is not bad. So again, if he can stay fit next year, I'm expecting big things from Florin Andone. We'll also look at Gabriel Iancu, of course, finished second in the assist charts in the league this year. 16 goals in all competitions, 9 goals in the league. Really, really good season. A bit inconsistent at times, Iancu, but towards the end of the season, he was absolutely brilliant. Scored 9 goals in the league, as I said, and got 14 assists. So he actually finished level with Lucas on the assists. Improved from last year, which is good. You can see there's been a big improvement from last year. I'll be expecting him to kick on next year, definitely, and produce more. And we'll see what he can do next year. Who else have we got that we can look at? Vilcenu. I keep pronouncing it wrong. Now, I checked the pronunciation yesterday and I've forgotten it, so I'm sorry about that. I'm going with Vilcenu. I'm probably getting it wrong, but again, I just can't remember. But another really promising player. You can see his stats are declining, which is a bit concerning, but he suffered a few injuries, and the few injuries throughout the season, there's little niggly injuries, those injuries where they're out for 1 or 2 weeks. He kept getting quite a few of those, which kind of halted his develop a little bit. He played less games than he did last year because of those injuries, and I was expecting him to kick on a little bit more this year, but he's still only 19. We've got a big future ahead of him. This is going to be one of our biggest he's one of our biggest talents, and hopefully next year we can see more from him. I signed him up on a new deal to 2019. Unfortunately, he wanted this release clause. Like, he literally wouldn't budge on having this release clause to foreign clubs for 6 million. So maybe he's not someone we're going to be able to keep hold of for a very long time. Maybe I might look to sign him up on a new deal soon, see if I can get that release clause out, because he's going to be huge for us in the future. But I won't look at all these players. I guess one last player that we'll have a look at, Paul Papp, I guess. No, actually, we'll look at Tanase, the captain of the club. Had a really good season again. 29 years old now, so he's coming to that age where we may look to move him on if we can bring in a replacement, that is. But he done really well this season. Only scored 3 goals in all competitions. But, his overall contribution to the side is a very positive one. Of course, he's one of our senior members in the side. And, he contributed well. Played less games than last year, of course. I think he picked up an injury towards the end of the season that kind of kept him out. But, yeah, a really good season for him. If we just look at kind of the formation and the squad as a whole going forward, I've got my plan. Now, I'm thinking about changing the system. Of course, in the league, this is a system that we completely dominate with. But in Europe, I think I don't know if this is a system that's going to work in Europe. Of course, we are not, we're an underdog side in Europe. It's a very attacking formation. So maybe I may look to change things up in Europe. But I've not really thought about that just yet. In terms of where I'm going to be looking to strengthen this next season, a defensive midfielder is going to be high on my list of priorities. Fernando, who we bought in the summer, is actually leaving. I've sold him for a profit, in fact. He hardly played for us, played 9 times, in all competitions. We've sold him to AAB in Denmark for £850,000, so we've made a small profit on a player that we literally didn't play. Fabio Braga is a decent player, but I just need an upgrade in that defensive midfield position. Yagu, he can play there as well, but again, I want a top quality player in that position. So that's where I'm going to be looking. Also going to be in the market for a striker. Tukadin is actually joining us permanently. I've actually forgot to mention that. We've had that agreement that we could sign him for £750,000 since he come on loan to us. Of course, he's been on loan here for 2 years. I've decided to take up that option. Not as good as last year. Tukadin only scored 14 goals in all competitions. But I think for that amount of money, you can see he's valued at 3.3 million. So potentially he's someone we could make some decent money off in the future. So that's kind of the reasons why I've signed him up permanently. But yeah, I'm going to be looking for a striker because Gladkey, of course, who we had on loan from Shakhtar Donetsk, made a really good contribution, but he's going back to Shakhtar. So we need a striker, most definitely. We need a defensive midfielder, as I said. Maybe looking at a left winger as well. Of course, Tanase usually plays there, and Nasha usually plays there, but they're both right-footed. I want someone on that left-hand side who's left-footed, who's more natural in that left wing position. Of course, if we do switch to a 4 at the back formation, which I may be considering, may have to look at buying some fullbacks as well, but I haven't got any of my budgets or anything just yet. So we'll see what happens over the summer. Our finances are good. We've got 19 million in the bank. Very, very healthy financially. I should get some decent money to spend in the window. But yeah, that hasn't come through yet, so we'll see about that. But that will probably be the end of the episode. I don't know how long this episode's actually gone on for. Not that long, but I just wanted to kind of round up the season and actually, talk about how things have gone. So if you did enjoy this, be sure to leave it a like. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy what you saw here today, please do subscribe. As I've said many times, I upload twice a day at 5:30 and 8 PM, Monday to Friday UK time. So if that's something you're interested in, please do subscribe. But for now, it's been Halfback FM, and I'll see you guys in a bit.